What's your first football memory, Mike Madden? What is that?
Oh boy. Dad was a football coach, so even as a kid, I remember in kindergarten, the my kindergarten teacher put a newspaper article up and said to the class, "Does anybody know who this is?" And I, of course, was the only one. It was the Chronicle, the Green Sheet, and Dad had just been hired as head coach of the Raiders. And so Mrs. Kessel went around the room and nobody knew, and I was blushing. And she says, Mike, do you want to tell everybody what happened? And yeah, my dad just, he was a linebacker. I don't even know if I knew. Anyway, Dad just got hired as the head coach of the Raiders. And so that, yeah.
In kindergarten, huh? So you were a kindergartner when that happened. So were you just hanging out in the locker room as a first, second, third grader with some of the greatest Raiders in the history of the Raider organization, Mike? Was that a scene?
No, the answer to that is hell no. But it is an interesting thing. No, when Dad was hired, I was 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
And then so there's kind of three chapters. There was the first chapter where it's, no and hell no. And then it was kind of, okay, let's bring the kids around. And the Raiders, training camp was, 2 months long, and Dad would go up to Santa Rosa right after the 4th of July. And Mom says, you guys can go and hang out with your dad, but you can't sit at the training table and get a New York steak in front of you and have your dad cut your steak. So the big test to go off to training camp was you got to be able to cut your own steak.
Oh, yeah.
And so once we could pass that test, we got shipped up to Santa Rosa for a week or two during training camp.
So Ken Stabler never babysat you, Mike? That never happened?
No. No, like I said, in the early era, it was just, stay the heck out of the way.
Okay.
Get hurt. The medium chapter was, okay, you can cut your steak, eat over here, go over here, and, just, don't disappear off the property. And then the third chapter is when Dad finished, I was a high school football player of my own, so I was playing myself. And then the later guys, the Mickey Marvins and the Lester Hayes, those guys were now, only 7 or 8 years older than me. So I did have a different relationship with them that we had with the older players.
I love it. So last one for you on the memory lane here. So he never took you even to the set of a Miller commercial? Did you ever go to a set of one of those, Mike?
Well, now, yes. So now by the time he retires, I'm in high school. And yes, we did go to the set. I went to the first Miller Lite, and that was our first train trip across the country. Actually, was to go from California to New York on the train for him to shoot the very first Miller Lite, where he's just in the bar by himself, busting through the paper.
So did you meet Rodney and Boog Powell and Dick Butkus? Did you meet them all, Mike?
No. I never made it to a reunion. But like I said, we were there at the first one where he did it just by himself. And but no, he would come back from those reunions, and he had the most fun. All those guys had the most fun, and that was it was more than just doing commercials together. I mean, that was a club, and Dad would come back with a fistful of stories coming back from the reunion shows.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.